Hello everyone. Welcome to Class 10 Science videos of Chapter 6 Life Processes. We have already learned about living and non-living things in the lower classes. Living things express certain signs of life such as running, chewing, working, etc. Then, how can we identify whether they are living or non-living while sleeping? If we observe them closely, we can see them breathing, which is also a sign of life. Even in sleeping conditions, the living beings perform several activities within their body. Then, what about plants? How do we know that they are alive? Plants are green, and we know that they prepare food and grew over time. So, we can understand that they are alive. Plants express some sort of movement, either growth related or not. For example, germination and flowering of plants are growth related, while the response to certain stimuli is not related to growth. When we touch a mimosa, then the leaves become folded. But a plant that is not visibly growing is still alive. Some animals can breathe without visible movements. For example, earthworms breathe through the skin that is not visible. Very small scale movements like the movement of molecules will be invisible to the naked eye. The movements that happen in the cells are always invisible. Is this invisible molecular movement necessary for life? If we ask this question to a professional biologist, he will say yes. All living beings depend on molecular movements for sustaining life. But the virus is an exception. They do not show any molecular movement until they enter a living cell. We have already learned that living organisms have a well-organized structure. They have tissues, tissues have cells, and cells have smaller components in them called molecules. Whether an organism is unicellular or multicellular, they have a well-organized structure. The cell has an organized structure, and all the organisms have organized structures because the basic unit of that structure is the cell. Maintenance of this well-organized structure is essential to keep alive, and this structure must adapt to the environment. See a fish in an aquatic environment. When the environmental factors like temperature increase, the amount of dissolved oxygen in the water decreases. So the fish may not breathe easily and eventually they will die. Thus, the environment affects the organized structure of all organisms, and these organized structures may break over time. So, the living creatures must keep repairing and maintaining their structures as such. The maintenance of the organized structure of an organism needs a variety of processes, and those processes are termed life processes. Life processes always happen whether they are active or not. It takes place even when we sit or sleep. Digestion, circulation, and respiration are examples of life processes. The basic process behind all these activities is the movement of molecules that happen in the cells, and it needs energy. Then, from where do the living beings get energy? They get it from outside, and the source of energy is food. How does the food become the packets of energy? While finding the answer, we understand that solar energy is the ultimate source of energy. This energy is trapped by the plants, which are the producers of the earth, and stored as chemical energy, and this process is known as photosynthesis. Glucose and oxygen are the main product and byproducts of photosynthesis respectively. The food prepared by plants is taken by animals and broken down into simple substances such as glucose, amino acids, etc. These simple substances or digested nutrients are absorbed into the blood, and the blood absorbs oxygen through breathing, which is a part of respiration. Oxygen and digested nutrients are transported by the blood to each cell. In the cell, glucose is decomposed in the presence of oxygen and releases energy, that is, respiration. The smooth running of these life processes is essential for life. As a result of these continuous processes, various waste materials are formed, and these wastes should be eliminated. That is also a part of life processes. Growth is one of the results of life processes, and growth also needs energy. Life on Earth depends on carbon-based molecules. So, the food consists of carbon-based molecules. According to the complexity of carbon sources, different kinds of the nutritional process are needed for various organisms. In amoeba, the food particles are simple to digest and are absorbed by a simple process. But in animals, they are consuming complex food, so the nutritive process is also complicated. The human digestive system can't digest cellulose, but certain mammals like the horse, cow, etc. have digestive provisory for digesting the cellulose. Like nutrition, all other life processes are simple in simple organisms and complex in complex organisms. When the body size increases, the body designs become complex. Whether big or small, a series of chemical reactions take place in every cell of organisms for life processes. Oxidation and reduction reactions are some of the most common chemical means to break down molecules. The total of these reactions is termed metabolism. Metabolism consists of two processes, that are catabolism and anabolism. Catabolism is the breaking down of complex molecules. For example, decomposition of glucose through cellular respiration. Anabolism is the synthesis of complex substances by combining simple substances. For example, synthesis of glucose through photosynthesis. The seat of metabolism is the cell, and the movement of molecules is the basic. From this video, we learned that various life activities are taking place in the entire life of all living beings. It may be either visible or invisible. The living creatures must keep repairing and maintaining their organized structures as such. Molecular movements are very essential for the maintenance of life. The maintenance of the organized structure of an organism needs a variety of processes, and those processes are termed life processes. It includes nutrition, circulation, respiration, and excretion.